The Premier League is back this upcoming weekend with a massive fixture. Liverpool versus Manchester United at Anfield this Sunday. But does Arne Slot have another injury to be concerned about? Ryan Gravenberch was subbed off yesterday in a win for the Netherlands, in which Ronald Koeman has said it was a hamstring concern. You're talking Ryan Gravenberch, Alisson, Giovanni Leone, Konaté. The injuries are starting to mount up for Liverpool in what is going to be a very interesting next 6 to 10 games, where they play Brentford away, Manchester United. They also play Real Madrid and Manchester City, as well as Crystal Palace. And we know Crystal Palace recently have got Liverpool's number. We've also got an injury update with regards to Martin Ødegaard. How big of a concern is that for Mikel Arteta, when you've also got Eberechi Eze, who is there ready to compete and fight for his place and start? I am so happy we are coming to the back end of the international break. It's slow. It's boring. No one really cares about England versus Wales or Spain this or Portugal that. It's not the same as club football for me unless it's an international tournament. But the group, some of these groups, England have got Latvia tomorrow. I just could not care less. It's slow. It's really, it doesn't, kind of get me going as much as the Premier League does. But, it is something to watch, I guess. Make sure you go down and drop a like on the video if you haven't already and let me know your thoughts. Do you think this is Arne Slot pulling him out, or do you actually think this is an injury to Ryan Gravenberch? Because I'll be honest, apparently he doesn't feel too good is what the report says. I'm looking at that midfield. McAllister has not been that good this season, and he does deserve some criticism. Maybe not the criticism he is getting, I think, is maybe a little bit overboard, but he does deserve criticism. Curtis Jones is there, Endo is there, but they're not Ryan Gravenberch, who is arguably top 3 central midfielders in the league right now. You'd say Declan Rice, Caicedo, and Gravenberch. Put them in any order you want. They are probably the best 3 central midfielders alongside Tonali. I'm looking around going, who's going to step in? Make sure you also go down and hit that subscribe button as well. We are less than 200 away from 80,000. If you haven't already and you enjoy the content, please hit that subscribe button. 93% of you who watch the content throughout October have not subscribed. So if you go down and do that, that'd be greatly appreciated. Now, I want to talk about this tweet here. And it says, a hamstring scare for Ryan Gravenberch on Holland duty as Liverpool man is replaced after just 45 minutes against Finland. All that and the rest of the international fixtures are rounded up by Ian Doyle. Now, that could be a huge concern for Liverpool fans. That I'll be honest, could be massive. This account has said, Liverpool Transfer News account has said, injury update, Ryan Gravenberch has given Liverpool a fresh concern after being forced off at halftime with a hamstring issue during the Netherlands' 4-0 win over Finland. Further assessment will determine the extent of the injury. I think it's fair to say, based on this tweet, that it's likely that he will not be facing Manchester United at the weekend. And when you look at the injuries that are starting to pile up for Liverpool, it isn't a surprise that teams are getting injuries. Looking at how many fixtures teams have to play, how many games players have to play nowadays. Everyone remembers Rodri saying, the likelihood is players will go on strike, etc. They already have 4 players that will not be playing against Man United. This is also does not include Konaté because we don't know the severity of that injury yet. Endo's a doubt. So the central midfield double pivot could be Curtis Jones and McAllister, which is still more than good enough to go out there and beat Man United. Giovanni Leone, he will be lucky to be back by late December. I think that will be January/February time. And of course, Alisson will be out until the international break in November. Is there a crisis already at Liverpool? In my opinion, it's a mini crisis. It can all be sorted with a couple of wins, get the fan base back on side. But what doesn't help Liverpool fans is this fixture list with the injuries they've got, with a centre-back pairing of Virgil van Dijk and Joe Gomez, is not ideal. If Konaté's not around for the Man United or Frankfurt game, after that, they've got Brentford and then they've got Crystal Palace. The international break finishes in a couple of days' time. They've still got 4 games this month. Palace in the League Cup, Brentford away, Frankfurt away, and Man United at home. You then get into November and it gets tricky. You've got Real Madrid, you've got Manchester City, you've got Aston Villa. Fortunately for Liverpool fans, a lot of those injuries, I would say, are coming at the easier time of their fixtures. It's not right on the Real Madrid game, for instance. You get into November, they've got a fairly, I would say, straightforward run up until that Inter Milan game. PSV, Forest at the moment are in turmoil. West Ham away, who are one of the worst teams in the league. Sunderland, who they should comfortably beat. Leeds away, who they should comfortably beat. And then they play Inter Milan, and then they play Brighton. Then they've got Spurs and Wolves. Now, I'll be honest, I think if you're an Arsenal fan looking at this, they're all going to be thinking they're going to be like rubbing their hands together. If you're a Liverpool fan, you're probably thinking, well, this is when we find out what our squad is really made of. If they can get to January with only, Joe Gomez, Konaté, and Virgil van Dijk constantly rotating, and then they bring in a Mark Gahey or a Upamecano who's been heavily linked, then I think they will be okay for the rest of the season. And they should, when you look at the amount of money they've spent, they should go and win the league. What is going to be very interesting is during that 4 to, next 2 months of fixtures, there's an awful lot of games that Arsenal, I'm looking at their fixtures and thinking they should be winning not all of their games, because obviously you are going to drop points. You are going to lose football matches. This is how it works. However, it's a run of games in which a lot of their tough fixtures, Arsenal play at the Emirates. Now, we are going to get into the Martin Ødegaard injury news, but you look, Fulham away, Atletico Madrid, Palace, Brighton, all 3 tough games, but they are at home. 3 next easy games away. Burnley, Slavia Prague, Sunderland. I'm not saying they're going to win their next 7, but I do feel confident in which Arsenal should be winning their next 7 games. Atletico Madrid will not be easy by any stretch of the imagination. However, I think they've got more than enough in the tank to go and win that. Then they've got, you look at next season, the next lot of games. Again, majority of their tough games are at home. North London derby against us, at home. Harry Kane returns to the Emirates, at home. Chelsea away. But then they play Brentford at home, Villa away, which they've won there the last few years. Club Brugge won't be easy. And what's going to be very interesting to see is, does Eberechi Eze start in the number 10 now, looking at this Martin Ødegaard injury update? There is hope that Martin Ødegaard will be out for a matter of weeks, not months, after suffering a knee injury against West Ham. Last time out, a complete grade 3 MCL rupture would have required surgery, but not as thought to be the case for the Arsenal captain. Best case is 4 weeks. Worst case is around 8 weeks. So we go back to those fixtures and look at 4 weeks' time. We'd be looking roughly at the next international break, which would be around, he should be back if it's best case scenario for the North London derby. If it's a worst case scenario, you're looking at mid-December. But they should still have enough in the tank to go out there and beat these teams until Martin Ødegaard is back. Bayern Munich, I reckon they get a draw. North London derby, I reckon they get a draw. I reckon they beat Chelsea away. I don't think Chelsea at the moment are that great. And these run of games, they should comfortably win a lot of those without Martin Ødegaard, because their squad depth is so good. They still have the likes of Eberechi Eze. They still have the likes of Max Dowman, Ethan Nwaneri. Noni Madueke should be back soon as well. I think he's back beginning of November, which is only a couple of weeks away. Declan Rice. They've still got more than enough in the tank to go out there and beat, most of these teams they're facing. In terms of the Premier League this weekend, it's going to be a very interesting position that Arsenal could find themselves 4 points clear by the time Liverpool play Manchester United. Now, I'm looking at these fixtures and I'm going through and thinking this could be Big Angie's last game at Nottingham Forest. Newcastle have got a massive game away to Brighton in which they can continue some good form. City, Jack Grealish will not be playing in that game. Arsenal should beat Fulham. Then you get to Sunday. You got a massive Super Sunday with Spurs. We should beat Villa. Liverpool should beat Man United. And then you've got a London derby between West Ham and Brentford. By the time Liverpool play Sunday, when you look at the league table, Arsenal could be 4 points clear, which would make things extremely interesting going into that massive game on Sunday between Liverpool and Manchester United. I'm just going to bring up the table before we finish. Before we get into this weekend's games, that is what the table looks like. Arsenal's goal difference is considerably better than Liverpool's as well. If Man City are to beat Everton and Liverpool do not, let's say they don't get the right result, Man City could be up to second. We or Bournemouth could be in second as well. There's a lot to get into this weekend. Make sure you drop a like. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time. I'm out.